1. The ins and outs of Brexit and the consequences for India. GS Paper 2. Effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests, Indian diaspora. What is the issue is about? On June 23, registered voters of the United Kingdom will voice their opinion whether the nation should remain in or leave the European Union. It will be the first time since the EU, 28-member economic and political grouping, was founded in 1957 that a member country will be leaving if voters choose Brexit or Britain's exit. Results of the referendum are expected on Friday. Why there is such a question among Britons? In recent years, there has been much disquiet in Britain over migration into the country from within the EU and its effects on wages and public services. Those campaigning for Brexit say only a Brexit can restore British sovereignty and effectively clamp down on immigration. About the formation of European Union. The EU is an economic political union which was created in 1957, with just 6 nations, as an answer to the nationalism that had permeated Europe after World War II. The idea underlying the EU was to ensure peace by promoting economic cooperation in a single market of the member states. The EU currently has 28 members with more, such as Turkey, waiting in the wings to join in. With its headquarters in Brussels, EU has its own currency, the euro, which has been adopted by 19 member countries. It also has its own parliament that now sets rules in a wide range of areas, including on environment, transport, consumer rights and even mobile phone charges. Citizens of member states have the right to freedom of movement, which means the citizens can move, live and work in any of the member states. Global consequences of Brexit. Brexit would be the strongest repudiation of the post-World War II consensus favoring global integration. The consensus is already fraying against the backdrop of increasing protectionism and anti-immigrant sentiment worldwide. Brexit will only add to this sentiment. It could undermine global growth prospects. The EU is the largest trading partner for many countries such as India and China. Any unraveling of the EU market means uncertainty as it is an export destination and this is likely to have an impact on exports from all major parts of the world. For example, at present exports to the UK account for 0.7% of Asian countries' GDP. Some studies estimated that a Brexit would reduce British imports by 25% worldwide within 2 years. If Britain votes to leave, investors will rush to safety and precipitate unpredictable moves in global markets as capital moves from risky assets, possibly emerging markets, to safer havens. Much of the EU's money comes from its member states, and the UK is one of the larger contributors. A British exit from the EU would rock the Union by ripping away its second-largest economy with one of its top 2 military powers and by far its richest financial center. This could also give rise to more nations contemplating exit from the EU. Greece, for example, held a referendum last year when its citizens overwhelmingly rejected EU's bailout norms. Many Britons working within the vast EU bureaucracy would have to look for alternate employment. Consequences for India. India sees the UK as a springboard or gateway into Europe. Many Indian companies are listed on the London Stock Exchange and many have European headquarters in London. According to Indian government numbers, there are 800 Indian companies in Britain. Brexit will take away this advantage. India has been negotiating a free trade agreement with the EU since 2007, and a yes vote for Brexit will have a direct bearing on this. If Britain stays put, then India need not rework its strategy. If Britain leaves, then this will mean that India will need to negotiate a separate pact with the UK. Brexit can affect India's flagship IT sector, given that the UK accounts for 17% or one-sixth of the sector's global exports that topped $100 billion, approximately R'6.70 lakh crore. For one, Brexit will increase overhead costs, setting up new headquarters, perhaps in both Europe and Britain. There are some who see an advantage for skill migration from India to Britain, thanks to Brexit. But given that one of the arguments in favor of Brexit is the large numbers of European migrants coming into Britain, this perception of advantage could be somewhat misplaced.